Hey YouTube, Alan back with another package and pickups video, which I mentioned was going to follow on hot on the heels of Gordonman's help with that Master System game. So we've got a big box down here, and I'm not going to take it up because it's kind of wedged in. But basically, if you've been on the Retro Collect forums or Sega 8-bit forums, a guy there called Playgeneration. But maybe you might know him as well from Digger Chan, because he's one half of the team behind that game on the Master System, first proper kind of homebrew release. But he put up a thread of lots of stuff for sale, so I ordered up a load of stuff off him, and I came to about, I think it was 70 quid, you know, including shipping. So pretty good value. So there's a whole, it's very much a mixed bag of things. So, and I haven't even organised it, so it's just going to come out whatever way it comes out. But anyway, on with the show, so to speak. And it's a mixture of kind of retro and not so retro. But I guess we'll start off with something that definitely is retro. And, well, there's two of them here and they're related, so I'll put them all together. We have some Atari 7800 games. Now, the Atari 7800 is the only Atari console I really played, you know, back when I guess it was current. And as such, it's the only Atari system that I have nostalgic memories for. So it's the one I wanted to get back in my collection, and I got back a while back, but I haven't really played it all that much. I've always been meaning to, but for some reason it doesn't really, I don't know, I can't really tune it in all that well on my telly. It seems to tune in fine, and then after a few minutes it kind of loses the signal, so you know, it doesn't really want to make you play there. But anyway, he had a couple of Atari games, and I said, yeah, box and everything, so let's get them. Actually, I think there's something else. There's a peripheral somewhere too, but we'll get to that when I find it in the box. First up though, we have very much a classic. It's Miss Pac-Man. And yeah, interesting. Was she trying to be provocative there for the ghost? I'm Miss Pac-Man. Because on the back she gobble gobble gulps. This is just taking a whole wrong turn. Innocent 80s fun, eh? But yeah, anyway, boxed complete. And we have cartridge. Of course, Atari were pretty cheap in the production of their 7800 stuff, like black and white label, although at least it has a front label. And they have where are they? You know, this is the manual. That's it. Wow. It's excuse me. This is exactly what you'd expect to get in a modern manual. And although it technically is sort of colour, it's not exactly what you call a full colour manual. So it was all to cut down on cost, because that was the Tramiel's approach. Oh wait a second, there seems to be another manual. Oh right, it seems to be a German manual, so bumping up the cost there. But yeah, the Tramiels took the approach of, you know, cost reduction very seriously, so that's no surprise. I mean, even the 2600 for this cartridge slot had kind of a protector in it here, but they removed that from the 7800. Oh, excuse me, I have a very bad kind of recurring cough at the moment, so I'm going to be probably coughing through this video, but you'll have to live with it. But yeah, one thing that drives me nuts about these boxes is that the cartridge is up here, and it's relatively solid, so it helps maintain the structure of the box, but there's essentially nothing down here. And it's very common where this part of the box basically gets squeezed in, but the tray part is integrated into the box, so it's very hard to reform the box like you can with, like, say, a Nintendo box, where you can, or even a Game Gear box, where you can put in a piece of wood or something and try and get it to properly reform shape. Now these are in pretty decent condition. They're not meticulous, but they're not too bad. Oh, and for Blue Tonic, look, there's the side. Ooh, got a little picture and everything. Crazy. But anyway, moving on, because I was a long time on Miss Pac-Man. It's a good game, by the way, so apparently I'm not moving on from Miss Pac-Man. Yeah, I actually did play this back in the day, and it's a good conversion, very enjoyable. Another 7800 game, and this one I've never heard of, never played before, and it's Moto Psycho. So it's a later release, I think, judging by the number 52 on the cover versus, I think it was 6 or something. Pac-Man was a very early one. I just can't get off Pac-Man, can I? I don't know, somewhere. 7. But yeah, so basically it's, you would think nearly from the cover, Motorcycle, it's going to be maybe a bit of road rash, you know, beating people up on motorbikes, but no, it's basically hang on, and they're shameless. On the back of the box there, hang on for your life. It's very clearly Atari's answer to hang on. So yeah, I'd be curious to see how it plays, because I like a bit of hang on. And look, ooh, colour on the label, crazy. So we have the typical El Cheapo manual, and we have, this time they have the foreign language ones just as an extra printout. Because we got the colour label, you see, they had to shave the pennies off elsewhere. And look as well, because this one folds out. Ooh, feel the quality. God, I'm being awfully sarcastic today. I don't know why. But yeah, I definitely want to give that a go, see how it plays, how it compares to, say, Hang On a Master System. And there's not a massive load of games on the 7800. So when they do come up and you can get them for a decent price, I do plan on picking them up. It's, as I said, it's the only Atari console that I've really got nostalgia for, so definitely I'll be trying out to pick them up. From now that the Master System collection's kind of dwindling down, there'll be a bit more bits and bobs, you know, for other consoles like the Atari. So speaking of Master System, just one actually picked up that I had traded off before and got again, but it's Spellcaster. So yeah, this is basically a direct replacement for a copy that I traded, but it's actually, you know, also missing a manual, so I'm still going to try to find a manual for this damn thing. This is my third copy of Spellcaster. Third copy without a manual. Someday I'll get a manual. Cartridge is a little scuffed, but anyway, it'll do for now. And Playgeneration very kindly stuck in 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Order now, and you get 3 Sega catalogs with your Playgeneration order set. So he very kindly stuck in 3 of these, which is really cool because I'll put these into other games too. He didn't have to do that, so I was chuffed for that. So yeah, not much to say about that one. It doesn't actually take the number down any, because when I recorded the last video, I had already taken this into consideration, so it's still 7. But there we go, Master System game. Now then. Something, I guess, a little more modern. We have a couple of the last generation. Well, geez, nearly 2 generations ago now. We have an Xbox game that I guess the name and the cover art just seemed interesting, and it's The Suffering. Don't know much about this, but as I said, I think he was looking for like maybe £2 for or something. It looked, you know, like it could be an interesting game. Apparently it's got DVD extras and whatnot, and it's in perfect condition. So yeah, I decided might be an interesting game for the price. I'll give it a shot. Apparently you can experience the terror as you fight your way out of a maximum security prison. Yep. Full arsenal of brutal weapons. Yeah. Experience different endings based on your actions. So, multiple playthroughs perhaps. But yeah, if you know what this is about, let me know. I just thought it was worth taking a chance on. It seemed interesting from the cover. That makes it feel very much like being back in the 80s. When you didn't have the internet, you didn't have such easy access to video content, to look at the games, to hear people's opinions. You might have had a magazine, but that's about the height of it. So you kind of went on the box art, and that's kind of what I did here. So, yeah. That's almost retro. It's something that's, again, from last generation, but needs no introduction, really. It's Metal Gear Solid 2, and this is the version with the bonus DVD. Not the substance version or whatever, but it's got kind of like making off or whatever. What is it? Making off Sons of Liberty, and then manual and whatnot. I have to say, I read this manual, haven't played the game, but I must give Konami credit for taking a novel approach to the manual. And this is what I like to see. Yeah, start off with the usual bump stuff, nothing remarkable, but then the actual kind of how you play the game is presented as a comic. And it talks to Snake through, you know, using the different moves and whatnot. And it's an interesting way. It's a nice little start, you know, to the game. And then to be continued, because basically that's where you take off. So I thought that was really clever, and a way to make manual content and the physical content more compelling. Because you have a really nice box. It's actually a white translucent box. You have the bonus features, and you probably won't see. Don't know if this will come up on camera, but then you got a nice Metal Gear Solid 2 kind of inlay on the inside of the cover art. So nice to make the product, the physical product, feel like it's worth more. But yeah, this game, so much flack it got for kind of a bait and switch there on the whole Solid Snake. Oh, you're playing as Raiden. Ha ha ha, we got yous. But yeah, I like the first Metal Gear Solid. Played it a bunch on the PlayStation. Never really got into any of the rest of the series. But in fact, I never even got into Twin Snake. I tried it and just, I don't know, it just didn't seem to work for me, despite the fact I really liked the first one. So I don't know whether or not I like this or not, but again, it was very inexpensive, and I figured, you know, may as well, if I get a chance to dive into a longer form game, it'd be worth a shot. So, semi-modern, I guess. What's next? What's next? Well, we'll go with one lone odd system for handheld, and it's a game that's, it's pretty common, but getting it in nice box condition hard, because everything by Nintendo, it's a Nintendo game, is always hard to get in such nice box condition. And this, you know, there's a few little scuffs on it, but it's pretty good. So I was well pleased to pick it up. And it's something, even back in the day, I thought, oh, that looks interesting. It looks like it's got a bit of character and a bit of history, you know, right on my alley. So it is Game & Watch Gallery, the original one. Well, I guess number 1. 4 games in one. So what are the 4 games? Manhole, Fire, Octopus, and Oil Panic. And it goes on about, basically, you have the original version, so it's a recreation of classic, that it looks like there it is there, classic, trying to look like the Game & Watches, and then you have modern versions which have Mario and co, and then it has Super Game Boy, so it has color versions too, which is pretty nice package when you think about it. And it's in pretty nice condition. The box is, you know, well formed and whatnot, and it's all complete. There we go. There's a little you know, the insert there, tray thing is a bit damaged, but that's not too bad. You won't exactly go looking at those. And it's got all the paraphernalia, you know, the manuals and whatnot, and of course the game with the little game holder. Whatever happened to all those game holders? Guess they went away in most boxes. And I love this. I actually remember I had a few of these back in the day, because I had the N64 and a little you know, catalogue, I guess. And you know, I looked through the N64 catalogue that they're advertising, which they advertise like a spaceship, and they have Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Diddy Kong Racing, Yoshi Story, GoldenEye 007, NBA Courtside, Blast Corps, Cruising USA, Killer Instinct, Lilac Wars, Wave Race, Snowboard Craze, Pilot N64, Mario Kart 64, and a few others there. Bloody good games. You know, I mean, people at the time, you know, said the N64 couldn't live up to it, but they're good games. And then on the flip side, the Game Boy stuff is Donkey Kong Land, Wario Land, James Bond, Street Fighter 2, Bomberman, although it looks like Apocalypse, so it's a quest, and then a few more Mario games. So yeah, and the camera. Of course, the camera became quite a big thing, you know, culturally as well. So yeah, pretty cool. So I remember that one very much so from back in the day. Pretty cool to look back at it again. What the hell is this? Oh, there's even another little thing here. Oh, registration card if I wanted to register the product. I don't think I can. Well, imagine phoning up Nintendo. I've been trying to register this Game Boy game. Somehow I don't think they'd go for it. At least not Nintendo of Europe. Nintendo of Japan support most of their products for 20 years, so they probably would. I know up till a few years ago they were still fixing the Famicom disk drives, because they kept breaking. Which kind of shows that people always say Nintendo's hardware is bulletproof, but if you think about it, the NES has problematic connectors, the Famicom disk system has terrible rubber drive, the Game Boy can get screen rot and whatnot. So, you know, the SNES yellows like nuts. They often have very odd video outputs, so you know, maybe their hardware isn't quite as bulletproof as you kind of think. But anyway, let's see. We'll set back up a little more modern, I guess. Again, I guess. Wish a system I don't play too much, but there's a bunch of games in here, so we'll actually go through them. But I don't know. I have the original model of this. It's another handheld, been meaning to kind of get one of the later handhelds, a slightly better screen, slightly lighter, and all that sort of stuff. And I only have about 4 or 5 games for it. So when I seen a bunch of them that are meant to be pretty decent, I said I'll pick them up and, you know, basically double the collection, because that's all I had. But first up, we have retro games on a more modern system. What do you expect? And it's for the PSP, Midway's Arcade Treasure Extended Play. So it has the what you'd expect, you know, Mortal Kombat 2. No, Mortal Kombat 1? Oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, Arch Rivals, Wizard of War, Zybots, Rampage, Clax, Clax, Spy Hunter, Sinistar, Defender, Paperboy. So quite a number of good games, classic games. I mean, honestly, they could nearly stick Mortal Kombat and Spy Hunter, and you know, you could put about 10 games on it and they would have had enough. And it's nice and complete too. Of course, Sony, in their infinite wisdom, only put one little holder for the manuals there. That's just wrong. But that's first PSP game. Second one, I've heard people say this is good. I don't really know what it's about. I am going to hazard a guess that it's a rhythm action game, but it was, you know, Playgeneration was doing a really good price on that, I thought. And kids, given that it's one of those things that people talk about, I said, sure, I may as well pick it up. I like rhythm action games, and it is Patapon. So its reputation preceded it, which is why I picked it up. But I don't know what it's about myself. It's something about strike your drum and give orders to advance or retreat. Well, advance? Why would we be retreating? Discover countless new weapons and conquer mysterious lands. So, kind of like a general, you're ordering them with a drum, I guess. So, answers on a postcard if you know what it's about. And again, they have actually have a nice insert there too. I like when games have that on the inside too. It's quite clever. Or when they do the kind of flip covers and you can flip them inside out. But anyway, moving on. We have one of the earliest PSP games. Number on the spine is 11. And it is Mercury. Archer McLean's. Is that it? Yeah. And Mercury. So of course I know him from back in the old days, you know, in particular for Jimmy White World and Snooker. But of course, IK and Drop Zone. But this was an interesting sounding title. Basically, you think of Marble Man as rolling the ball to the end of the maze. It's like that, except with Mercury. But Mercury being a liquid, you split it out around paths. So yeah, interesting. I know they did Wii versions and whatnot, but I've wanted to try one version of this game. So when this one came up, I said, yeah, I'll give it a go. Still have to give it a go, mind you, but I'll get to it at some point. Next up, I guess going back to the rhythm action theme, or at least I'm assuming, again just from the title, and some crazy cover, it's a Guitar Man Live, or Lives. I thought it was because it was a guitar, it was live. But yeah, it looks like some sort of rhythm action game, and I tend to like them. A finger-flexing, ear-pleasing, world-saving musical gaming experience like no other. Musical mayhem on the move. So yeah, when I start talking about the PS Move, I'm talking about the PSP. So yeah, little rhythm action game, crazy cover, but I guess I have to see how it goes. And finally for the PSP, we have, I'm actually surprised the number is so high, it's 43 I thought it was, to be honest, I nearly thought this was #1 game on the PSP, because early in its lifespan it was the one that was talked about the most. It was the killer app. The PSP really didn't have a killer app per se in the early days, but from Q Entertainment, it was the thing most suited to portable gaming. And of course, I could only be talking about Lumines. Now, I've never played it, but I have played some of Q's other games like Meteos, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm expecting to enjoy this. You know, it's apparently an experience, it's a fusion between music and games, which there's nothing wrong with that. And again, nice and complete as well. So I think it's self-explanatory. If you're a PSP owner, you probably have to own that one, or at least have tried it. But there we go, that about doubles my PSP collection. Not hard when you only have a few games. Let me see, I wonder, there's a few more handhelds. I guess I may as well pull these out. May as well finish off the handheld lock, because I've got another stack of them. And this last time around was PSP, this time it's DS. So it was basically a pile of DS stuff. I know Playgeneration actually sold a few more. I probably should have picked up more of his DS games because he was doing them for a great price. I think he sold like Jump Superstars for like £4 and WarioWare DIY for £4. I was kicking myself for not picking those up. That was stupid. But anyway, there's some other interesting titles here because the DS is probably my favorite handheld. Just love it. I think I have 30 or more titles. Could be 40 titles for it. So it's a handheld I definitely have the most games for. Certainly I had about 4 games for the PSP. 40 for the DS. Which do I prefer? But one franchise, a Nintendo franchise that managed to escape me during the DS's lifespan was Star Fox. So I picked up Star Fox Command. Now apparently this is meant to be, it's meant to take inspiration from the cancelled Star Fox 2 on the SNES. Although interestingly, they actually have the original kind of Star Fox lineup there from the first game. But the command aspect is you draw your route through the kind of Lilat system. And if you've played the Star Fox 2 kind of leaked ROM or whatever, you'll know that it's not. There is that kind of where do you go and moving your ships around the map, and it's very very familiar. You know, it's very similar to what they did in this game. Now, the controls. I have heard complaints about the controls. I've only played it a bit, and to be honest, I would be unsure about these controls. They're, you know, very touchscreen heavy and maybe not the best, but anyway, it's a Nintendo game, so it was good value if nothing else, and yeah, it's nice and complete. Although it's the American version, not that it matters, and God, I don't like the American insides. You know, the box I just don't like. Although I do like the fact that they have nice colourful spines. So what do we got? Apparently we can subscribe to Nintendo Power. Not anymore, we can't. And if you like Star Fox Command, check out Mario. If you like Star Fox, check out Mario. You think they might have said if you like Star Fox, try Metroid maybe? But lots of Mario. So Mario, New Super Mario Bros., Mario 3-on-3, and Mario Donkey Kong. And then of course the manual. Oh wow, Nintendo went for colour. Not like Atari. Of course Nintendo usually went for colour. So there we go, that was the first DS game. I'm going to have to move through these a bit faster because I've been doing this for ages. So next up is a game I've actually played a bit before. It's basically a light gun shooter on the DS. Not that you have a light gun, but it's kind of like tap 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 tap. And it works. I wouldn't have paid much for it, but as I got this cheap, I was willing to pick it up. And it's Dead and Furious. So basically, think House of the Dead, but not as corny and as a result not as funny and not as good. Again, not a mega title, nice and complete as well, but worth a shot if you pick it up cheap. I think I found it actually quite tricky. So back to the I guess you could say music thing. So there's a few music-based games on the PSP. We have one on the DS, and this was one of the earliest games in Japan, but took years to come out over here. And it's a jam with the band. In fact, I don't think it came out in America. But the idea is really that you're going to be playing this with lots of other people, and each person could play an instrument, and you all play together. Kind of like a really less involving version, I don't know if this is of Rock Band, because in Rock Band you're playing the physical replications of the instruments, or replicas of the instruments, so it's more engaging. And being Nintendo, they're all MIDI interpretations of the music, so they go like 50 songs on the cart and 50 to download. That sounds like great, lots of them, but they've done a good job given that they had to do each instrument and make it playable and so on. But it doesn't sound all that great, and to be honest, I actually find it really hard to press the buttons and do it in time. It's not that engaging. I was expecting more because it was Nintendo, and because it got rave reviews and saying, "Oh, you should import it." One, I'm glad I didn't import it. It was worth a try, and it was, as I said, nice and complete with all the catalogs. I'm not going to go through them this time because, as I said, kind of getting long. But yeah, wouldn't be rushing out to get it, I have to say. Well, I mean, I'm it was worth what I paid, but I wouldn't have paid full price. This is apparently music based too. I guess you could think of a Q Entertainment, although it's not. Oh, it is! And it's Gunpei Day, yes. Gunpei Day? Well, of course, the original Gunpei is a WonderSwan game, and it was named after the inventor of the Game Boy and the WonderSwan, and this is a modern recreation of it, or interpretation, and they've tied in with the music thing again, you know, music and puzzle. So I do want to give this one a go as well. Oh, wait a second. I put this in the box, but I didn't get this off Playgeneration, because I see a receipt in here, and the receipt means I got it from CEX. It was €3. They were meant to have the PSV version, but they didn't. I would have picked that up, because that was even less, but they didn't have it. So it was complete, in good condition. It actually had a massive kind of security type sticker. It looked like a customs and excise type of thing, so I guess it came from an airport somewhere. But yeah, I'll give that a go at some point. But back to the Playgeneration stuff. Imposter, imposter. You're not welcome in this video. Get away. So the last DS game from Playgeneration, and it's a Suda51 game, which means it could be interesting or it could be terrible, or it could be a combination of the two. Really, kind of interesting and kind of not that great at the same time. You know, that's what his games are to me. And this one is. It's a murder and mystery in paradise. It's called Flower, Sun and Rain. So it's sort of like an adventure game, I guess. You've got to solve the riddle of the seemingly endless mystery that Sumino Mondo's life has become since arriving on the island of Los Pas. At the Flower, Sun and Rain Hotel, he encounters an intriguing adventure. So yeah, it makes use of the Nintendo DS stylus and things like that. You got to write notes, and I'm intrigued to give it a go, put it that way. And with Suda, you never know what you're getting. So that nearly makes it worth a shot anyway. You know, it's never going to be just a run-of-the-mill thing with him. So there we go, that's the DS stuff. Excuse me while I dig away down here. I think there's one odd one left out, and Private Joker may know what this one is, because I seen he asked about this game after I had bought it. It's a Mega CD game, and when I bought it, I then went to myself, you know what? My Mega CD collection is shit. It's terrible. I must have decided to pick up just crap games or something, because this one isn't remarkable, and it was a good price. And I said, well, I'll pick it up because I like to pick up Sega stuff when I can. Especially when I haven't tried them out. But my Mega CD games so far are like Thunderhawk or whatever. You know, Cobra Command, or you know, this kind of double pack game. You get two of them. They're okay. And the Sega Arcade Classics pack, and Sherlock Holmes and Road Avenger. Nothing really to write home about. They're okay, they're interesting, and they are representative of the type of gaming, you know, that the Mega CD is known for, FMV and all that sort of stuff. But when you think of Mega CD, you think of like Sonic CD and Final Fight, and you know, a few bits like that. So yeah, someday I'm gonna have to get around to those. This is not one of those. Certainly not a fighting classic like Final Fight, or at least I doubt it will be. It is Brutal Paws of Fury, and looking at the back. And looking at the animation of the character, I kind of go, this was a Mega CD game? Why was it on CD? Yeah. Apparently it features action replay, loads of special moves, a unique learning system, extra moves, a mind-bombing soundtrack, oh that's it, and full motion cinematic animation. Now you're playing with superpower. No wait, that's not right. So yeah, it's complete, in good condition. You know, I like the fact that the Mega CD came in these cases, nice robust cases, even though they didn't use a second side. And yeah, the manual's in there. Is it in colour? No. Well, it's not quite black and white, but it's sort of that way. So, I didn't know anything about it, haven't tried it. Not expecting it to be the best fighter ever, but it was a good price for a Mega CD game, so I figured I'll add it to the collection. So, back to Nintendo. I did mention I did mention there was a peripheral for the Atari 7800, and that was a spare controller, which I don't seem to have in the box. It must be in the other room somewhere. So can't show that, but I got a controller for it too, which is handy because one of my controller, the button is a little sticky, so I was like, you know, it wasn't great to play with, so I was happy to kind of get a replacement. But anyway, the last bit is some NES stuff, and God, I'd be hard pressed to think, have I ever shown any NES games on my channel in any form, in a pickup or in a gameplay? Well, Mario Brothers 3, but that was on the Super Nintendo. But anyway, it's about time I righted that wrong. Oh no, wait, of course I did. I picked some up in America, but that was it. Yeah. So we picked up some NES games. You probably can tell just the sound of the NES underground type of thing. Those big clunky cartridges clunking together. So picked up a couple of loose carts and actually some box games. We'll get to that in a bit, because they're my first box games. But the loose carts are, well, this one, the first one, I don't know anything about it. It was £1, so I figured I'll give it a shot. It's Time Lord. So if you know what this is about at all, let me know. It's fine except for the little label there, but I can stick that down if I so wish. Generally, I don't come across NES games, so if I can pick one up for £1, I'll give it a go. You know, I know that I would say how far wrong could you go? Given some of the NES games, you could go really far wrong, even at £1. But I was willing to gamble. I mean, it costs less than a scratch card. And number 2, now I have heard of this one before, and it's meant to be quite a good. People would say it's a cult classic, but it's relatively well known, and so I don't think it is at all. I mean, a lot of the NES stuff, even the lesser known stuff, is well known. So I don't know. But this one's Little Nemo Dream Master. It's a platform game by, I don't know who's it by actually. It's Capcom or someone. Yeah, it doesn't say it. So I don't know. But apparently it's a cult classic. You know, one of those. It's not Mario. It's not one of Mega Man. It kind of falls under the radar a bit, but it's meant to be quite a good 2D platformer. You can't go wrong with those. Again, it was only a few pounds, so that's the loose cartridges. Not too many, but I have 3 boxes here. My first ever NES boxes, and I don't know. Maybe this goes into the whole nostalgia factor. Put these away. Up and down like a yo-yo in this video. I got a runny nose now too. Great. Coughing and snuffling and whatnot. Jeez, I'm about to. If I expire during this video, you know, call an ambulance. But these boxes here, gobble gobble. They're not great boxes. They're not well designed, and they're cheap, and you end up squishing them and whatnot. But for some reason, I really like them. And I assume it's because my neighbour had it, and therefore I played them and seen them and had memories of it. Whereas I really didn't play too much NES back then. I never actually recall seeing NES boxes. And as such, even though I pick it up and say there's nothing wrong with them, in fact they have quite a lot of artwork, but there's nothing particularly as appealing to them. But anyway, that's kind of by the by. I was certainly interested to get some box games to have a look at them and see what they're like and whatnot, because I tend to like to get my stuff CIB where possible, or at least boxed. With the NES I'm actually less pushed because the cartridges are so big. It's like, let's pretend it's a box. It's that big. But anyway, first up we have, I think this is by Rare actually, it's Solar Jetman Hunt for the Golden Warp Ship. Published by Nintendo, but I have a feeling this is a Rare game. As in Rareware, not distributed by Bandai. Doesn't say, but Jetpack, was that not an Ultimate game? So yeah, I've actually heard kind of mixed opinions of this. I've heard some people say this is a really kind of good, you know, Jetpack style game, and I've heard others saying it's just overly tricky and not well implemented, so I'm not too sure. But as I said, it was a cheap box NES game. I think it's just a box and cartridge, yeah, this time. So really, the box doesn't have much when they're like that, does it? Um, the cartridge is in fantastic condition. Looks brand new, I have to say. Lovely label on it. So yeah, I'm interested to give it a go, because if it is somewhat like an evolved version of Jetpack, that'll be interesting. But getting my NES to work is a pain. I'm going to have to sort it out one of these days. It's all about time. Getting a time for these things. Next up is a game that I do know a bit about. I've met the guy who created it, and it's David Crane's A Boy and His Blob. Trouble on Blobonia. Yep, that's it. And it's quite an interesting game where you're this guy and you're going around, and basically you yourself can't attack. And you have this blob pal following around. You got to feed him all these different coloured jelly beans, and he takes on different powers, and you can transform him into, say, a ladder to climb things, and so on. Yeah, if I recall, there's actually a note in this. This one is complete, I believe. So again, another lovely cartridge. Of course, they did a remake of this on the Wii U recently. Not the Wii U, the Wii. Way Forward, I think it was, and they did a lovely version. There's actually some styrofoam at the bottom, so this one is really complete. Well, no, it doesn't have a manual. This is what I was thinking of. It has a little note of what the jelly beans do. So it has, like, I don't know why a number, but it says 72 licorice jelly beans equal ladder, 15 strawberry jelly beans equal bridge, and so on. So they have like all of what they do, and finally one. It says 6 ketchup jelly bean, and it says doesn't eat ? Well, the ketchup one was designed if you get, I think it was if you get separated or something from the blob, the boy and the blob get separated, where the blob could then catch up, and they could basically warp him up to him. I think it was kind of like a bug fix thing they put in, but you can't ordinarily get him to eat it because when he's with you, because he's already caught up. But yeah. It's meant to be quite a good game, and it certainly sounds interesting. I'll definitely be giving that one a go. I say that about all of them because by and large I do actually buy most of these games to try at some point, but it's the at some point that usually tends to be the factor. But I guess this is higher on the list to try. But anyway, we're really getting now. Last game, and this one, I think this is the one that's got the manual. This is box complete, the whole works, and it's Impossible. No, it's not. Wrong game. Impossible Mission. It's Mission Impossible. Strike that, take 2. So yeah, this game will self-destruct. Well, yes, it will, because it's a cardboard box. Those bloody cheap Nintendo gits. Why couldn't you have used a nice Master System style box? But I'm sure this is going to be a typical NES game. Again, it was very cheap and it was complete. So I thought, part of me is curious as a collector to see what a complete NES game would be like. And this is in really nice condition. Also, I noticed that they do like completely English backs, which is, well, nice for me. If you speak English, I guess if you don't, well, did they actually distribute French versions and German versions with full language backs? Maybe they did. I don't know. But yeah, this one has a little. Well, there's a styrofoam. There we go to prop it up. Oh wait, no, this one's missing the cartridge slip. Between them all, there is essentially a complete one. If I take the cartridge slip out of this one and put it into this one, it's complete because it has the manual of the cartridge, perfect condition cartridge, and at the back then there's the membership thing and the manual. So there we have the manual. Although it's black and white, cheap it out on us, Palcom. And then we have the free membership card, registration to Club Nintendo. Yep, why do I bet that address doesn't work? P.O. Box 104, Farnham, Hants, PO 16 8UR, England. So send in your letters to that address. And we have a little Palcom software guide. There's only one thing as exciting as our hit video games. What is it? They don't say what it is. There's only one thing as exciting as our hit video games. Presumably this is a quiz, and you're meant to send it in on this card. What is it? What is as exciting as their hit video games? But apparently their other hit video games are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Skate or Die. Die. So yeah, there's Palcom. And we're getting to the end of it. Woohoo! That was a long one. God, I haven't done a video this long in a while. Well, at least without Tony. But there's one other item, and it was kind of like a freebie thrown in. It was kind of. I asked him how much this was, but it wasn't. It was listed as untested, and it was. Well, I could do you a deal on, you know, maybe knocking a few quid off, or you know, you could throw this in if you like. So I said throw it in, and it is a Mega Drive 32X, the Mushroom of Doom. Boo, boo, boo. And it's just a loose one. But of course I have some cables and whatnot from my other bits. Sadly though, I actually can't get it to work. I don't know if it's not working. I suspect it might not be working because it's just kind of, when you power on, like, it doesn't even work as a Mega Drive pass through, which I generally do even if you don't have all the cables. You know, you can usually, if you don't have all the video cables, you get part of the video signal. But this is not getting me anything other than the Sega copyright logo and then blank. So, oh well, you win some, you lose some. I can always crack it open and see what it's about anyway. Of course, it took me ages to test this thing because I forgot. You know, I normally have a Mega Drive 1 set up, and I couldn't even get this in. And I was like, what? Oh, you need the metal clips, do you? And I said, no, because you got to take that off to get it into Mega Drive 1. And then when I got through that, I went, oh, you needed other bloody, the patch cable is different for the Mega Drive 1. There's another patch cable. Jesus Christ. So I ended up having to get a Mega Drive 2, the one that Ninja Bear Hug sent me, the Australia one, and hook that up, and oh, I had cables everywhere, and Sega. Do you know what I think happened? I bet you there was one probably younger tester or young developer, some in Sega hardware division at the time, and they were setting this up and went, guys, do you think this is a little much, all this cabling and all this? And they were like, nah, shut up, what do you know, noob? And just toss the suggestion aside because, Jesus, this is a nightmare to set up. And there's so few games. But anyway, that's the way it goes, doesn't it? Might get it working sometime down the line anyway, but not exactly a major rush in it to play all the classics on a system. But we'll end it there because I'm surrounded by games now, and yeah, this has gone on forever. But hope you enjoyed nonetheless, and we'll see you again sometime soon.